So how would one start out? Like, if you were to start out today with real estate, like, would you recommend commercial? Would you recommend residential? Like, what would be the game plan for that? Yeah.
When you ask about which,
How do you start? Yeah.
how do you start or where do you start? Oh boy, that's a tough question because, well, the segments are really into construction of new developments, horizontal developments of land, buying commercial real estate, buying apartments. Um, they all have their pluses and minuses. The worst thing that I would tell you in real estate today is our federal government has deemed real estate investments of passive income. So they tax you to death on real estate, and a lot of people don't realize that. That you buy a house with a suite in it, and you're supposed to collect the rent, and that's supposed to be your rent. Well, it isn't. 50% of the uptick is the provincial federal government's.
Wow.
So that's the downside there. Now the other theory is on residential is that you're very seldom going to be 100% empty. People have to live somewhere, and so there's as the real estate business matures, so does the industry from the standpoint people specialize, whether it's in apartments, whether it's in construction, commercial. The fellows that built the West Edmonton Mall, the Mall of America in Minneapolis.
Right.
I mean, it's a phenomenal feat to build it. And I say physically to build it as well as finance it.
Right.
And those are things that people with great vision and deep pockets decide to do. My deal is horse and buggy, small stuff, do it over and over. Anything that works, we'll try to refine it and make it better. But we're not into the really large projects. Our project sizes used to be in the $100,000 range. And now I would tell you our sweet spot is probably between 5 and 20 million, 25
Right.
million.
And so one thing I really enjoyed about your story is, you're not the big vision, deep pockets, use other people's money, right? Everything you've done it yourself. Obviously now, once you build capital, you can leverage that. But it all started with you, right? And that $15,000 that you paid back in the day. So what would your recommendation be if because I always get asked this from folks, even though I'm high tech in the high tech sector. I'm like, I don't know anything about real estate, and if I have questions, I ask you and I ask a few of my other friends who are in this space. But often you get asked that right now there's this whole trend going of passive income, where hey, get a triple X or get a apartment, rent it out, then use that home equity to get another one and rent it out, and you're going to be super successful. Is that how it works? I mean, is it that easy to do?
Well, they tried that when the subprime thing crashed, and you know how that ended up.
Oh yeah.
You know,
That didn't end up
no,
well. Yeah.
it didn't. And again, when we back up, the one loan that I never mentioned was that my very first venture in 1964, I couldn't borrow a dime. And unbeknownst to me, until actually 5 years later, my dad put his house up for sale, up for mortgage, or up for security, I should say, against a $5,000 loan with our bank. And I did not know that. Now, he did well in that loan over the years, just meaning I looked after the family because he looked after me at a time when I couldn't help myself. And the real interesting part of that was we never got along particularly well. He was a good, old, hard European guy. But the value that he provided that I had no access to was the start of it. How
Right.
he had the confidence to put his house up for me to rent $5,000 is beyond me, because I just it just surprises me. And again, back in that era, and even today, if we borrow money, we we're renting it. We don't own it. We have to pay it back.
Right.
You know, and one of the other things that I always keep in mind, we're kind of bouncing around here a little bit, but I tell everybody I have a partner in everything we do. It's Revenue Canada. You can't
Right.
forget that they are your partner.
Right.
And, you know, we got, back in the 60s, I was audited by Revenue Canada, and I had done a lot of stupid things out of mostly ignorance. And the auditor at that time was a guy by the name of Stan McDonald, and he says, you know, you got a pretty good business here. You should really get a good accountant. And honestly, that was some of the best advice that I had. And he put me in touch with an accounting firm. And accounting firms have been a good part of our success over the years. They've made a few mistakes, but you've got to make sure that you're not cheating the government or yourself, because
For sure.
it can come back and bite you in the ass.
No, for sure. And I would say that extends to the high tech sector as well, right? Like, two folks that, you know, as a CEO of a tech company, good lawyers, good accountants, super valuable, and make sure they're good. And it's hard to find good ones, right? You think it's easy because everyone has a degree. No, that the CPA alone is not, or the CA alone is not the prerequisite for a good accountant. So
I agree, and we've been fortunate over the years. We've had various accounting people and various lawyers, and you ferret out pretty fast the guys that are on your wavelength,
yeah,
and are reputable and do, you know, you want to bend the rules as far as you can, but don't get over the line. We can get to gray, but that's as far as we'd go. And we always know that, and we accept the fact that if, for whatever reason, some ruling went against us, then that's just how it is. That's just business.